Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are doing a complete, absolutely no fluff health checkup on a part of your home that is totally invisible. But man, is it absolutely critical. We're talking about your plumbing system. Look, if you're a San Diego homeowner, you probably don't spend a whole lot of time thinking about the pipes behind your drywall until something catastrophic happens, right? But your home's infrastructure has a definite lifespan, and waiting for an explosive failure is quite literally the most stressful and expensive way to handle it. So today we're taking a proactive approach. We're going to look closely at exactly how to tell if your home is on the brink of an emergency and exactly what you need to do about it. Okay, let's dive into this highly structured guide. We'll be covering 1. The hard water problem, 2. 5 signs of pipe failure, 3. Repair or replace, 4. The real cost, and 5. The 6-day solution. Let's get right to it. Section 1. The hard water problem, San Diego's silent antagonist. So you might not realize this, but our local geography actually plays a massive role in the health of your home's infrastructure. And that brings us to this number right here, 200 to 250 parts per million. Basically, that represents San Diego's extremely high hard water mineral content. Our local water chemistry, combined with that nice coastal climate we all love, creates a uniquely harsh environment for your plumbing. These minerals, they don't just flow cleanly through the pipes, no, they actively deposit and build up inside over time, and that aggressively degrades the material, weakening your pipe walls right from the inside out. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the gap between expectation and reality. You see, manufacturers have these theoretical life expectancies for their materials. For instance, galvanized steel is supposed to last 40 to 50 years. Copper is rated for 50 to 70 years. And modern plastic, PVC or PEX, is rated for a whopping 75 to 100 years. But take a look at what actually happens right here in San Diego. A galvanized steel pipe rated for 50 years, it often fails at just 35 years in our region. Our hard water severely compresses those timelines. Section 2. 5 signs of pipe failure. Diagnosing the symptoms. That compressed timeline we just talked about means we really need to be vigilant. So I want you to mentally perform a little home health check right now. The very first sign is purely visual. At your earliest convenience today, go open the cabinets under your sinks and take a hard look at the exposed pipes. If you have copper pipes and you spot a blue-green tint, that pipe is actively corroding. If you've got galvanized pipes and you see flaking rust or this weird white powdery buildup, the mineral damage is already well underway. And look, this isn't just some cosmetic issue. If you're seeing those crusty deposits on the outside of the pipe, trust me, the inside is much, much worse. And this brilliantly illustrates our second sign, consistently low water pressure. As the source material perfectly states, think of it like cholesterol in an artery. It's a great metaphor. Those mineral deposits we just talked about don't just look ugly, they physically constrict the inside of your pipes. So if you've already tried clearing the main line, checking your valves, and replacing the aerators, but the pressure is still weak throughout the entire house, the problem is inside the pipes. Whole house pressure loss is the classic textbook symptom that you absolutely need a repipe. Sign number 3 is discolored water. And we've got a super practical test for you to try at home called the white bucket test. It's exactly what it sounds like. Just run some cold water directly from your bathtub faucet into a clean white bucket. If that water comes out looking rusty, brown, or kind of cloudy, you're looking at the physical evidence of your degrading pipes releasing particles. If you see discoloration, it means your pipes are actively breaking down and you are unknowingly drinking trace amounts of rust and mineral sediment. Yikes! Moving on to the fourth sign, persistent leaks, but specifically in multiple locations. Now, a single isolated leak, that might just be a standard everyday repair. But if you're dealing with a drip under the kitchen sink, a mysterious water stain on the bathroom wall, and a little seep down in the basement, well, your whole system is failing. When pipes start leaking in different areas all at the exact same time, it tells us that the corrosion isn't just a localized issue, it's happening everywhere, simultaneously across your entire home. And then there's the fifth sign, which actually doesn't require looking at a single pipe. Just ask yourself, was your home built before 1970? If it was, and the plumbing hasn't been completely updated, it almost certainly has galvanized steel pipes. Remember that 50-year theoretical lifespan we talked about earlier? Yeah, we are now well past 50 years of use. Frankly, even if your home was built in the 70s or 80s, you are nearing the absolute limit. If you aren't seeing symptoms yet, you're unfortunately living on borrowed time. Section 3. Repair or replace, making the call. So the crucial point is, once you've diagnosed an issue, you have to decide, do you just apply a patch or do you perform full-on surgery? This table gives us a really clear framework. You should absolutely patch the leak if it's one isolated failure on an otherwise sound system, especially if your home is under 40 years old, uses copper or PEX, and you don't have any systemic pressure or discoloration issues. But take a look at the right side. You must replace the system if you have multiple leaks, declining whole house pressure, visible corrosion, or a home over 50 years old. If you're doing spot repairs on a failing, aging system, it's literally like bailing out a sinking boat one bucket at a time. A partial repipe might save some money in the short term, but our source warns it usually just leads to another huge repiping project within 5 to 10 years anyway. Section 4. The real cost. The financial reality of repiping. All right, this brings us to the conversation that understandably scares most homeowners, the cost. But hey, understanding the financial reality up front helps you make a calm, pragmatic decision. So here is the bottom line, no sugarcoating it. Whole house repiping in San Diego typically ranges from $8,000 to $25,000. Now you're probably wondering, why such a massive range? Well, it depends on several factors. House size is huge, obviously. A 1,500 square foot home might run 8 to 12 grand, while a 3,000 square foot home hits 15 to 25 grand. Accessibility matters a ton too. Pipes in a crawl space are way cheaper to get to than pipes buried in a solid concrete slab. Plus, older homes with complex layouts just require a lot more labor. And finally, you've got to factor in San Diego County permit and inspection fees, which alone can run $500 to $1,000. But keep in mind that this cost also covers new shut-off valves, updated connections, and brand new pressure regulators. I know, it's a big number, but look at how this charts out when we view it as a long-term investment. Consider the alternative, making agonizing emergency repair calls every 6 to 12 months. A single emergency repair can easily cost $500 to $2,000 a pop. If you're dealing with a failing system, you could easily be burning $3,000 to $6,000 every 2 years just in repairs and the sheer disruption to your life. A full repipe is 12 to 18 grand upfront on average, but it gives you 50+ years of completely trouble-free water. Plus, check out the second bar. Homes with brand new plumbing systems sell faster, and they often command a resale value bump of $5,000 to $15,000. In a lot of ways, it pays for itself. When you do finally decide to repipe, you have to choose a material. PEX is flexible, much more affordable, easier to install, and incredibly resistant to mineral damage. Copper, on the other hand, is very durable, handles high temperatures really well, and honestly, it looks elegant, which might be nice if you're trying to sell immediately. But for San Diego's hard waters environment, PEX is the definitive winner, hands down. Because of its makeup, it simply won't corrode like copper or galvanize like steel when exposed to those high mineral levels over the decades. Section 5. The 6-day solution. The repiping process. Let's move to and see how this builds, because I know a major renovation sounds terrifying and infinitely disruptive. But professional repiping is actually a highly orchestrated, finite process. Let's completely demystify the timeline. Here is exactly what to expect. On day 1, the plumber shuts off your supply and removes all that old, corroded material. Days 2 through 4, those are the installation days. The plumber carefully routes the flexible new PEX piping through your walls and under the floors, purposefully minimizing the need to hack up your drywall. By day 5, the main line is connected, the whole system gets pressure tested for leaks, and your water is turned right back on. Day 6 is just the final inspection, and boom, you receive your certificate of completion. So total disruption is typically just 3 to 5 business days. Yes, you will need temporary water access. A lot of homeowners actually just plan a fun little short trip while it happens. But it really is a contained, manageable event. So we have to end with this crucial question. Are your pipes living on borrowed time? If you've noticed literally any of the 5 signs we discussed today, the crusty deposits, that frustrating low pressure, discoloration, multiple leaks, or even just having an older home, please don't wait for a burst pipe to flood your house. The absolute smartest takeaway here is to get a professional diagnosis. A licensed plumber can do a full inspection for just $100 to $150 to tell you exactly what condition your invisible plumbing is in. It's a tiny, tiny price to pay to stop worrying about what's lurking behind your walls. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, here's to a healthier home.